Every single day, Muslims around the world seek help from people they believe are treating them with the Quran. They walk into a room trusting that the person sitting across from them fears Allah and is using nothing but the words of Allah to bring them relief. But what if the very person you trusted to remove Sihr from your life is actually the one putting it there? What if the man reciting over you at night is not a servant of Allah but a servant of something far darker? This is not a hypothetical question. This is happening right now in communities across the world. Families are being destroyed, women are being exploited, money is being stolen, and children are being harmed, all under the banner of Ruqyah. And the worst part is that most victims never realize what is happening to them until the damage is already done. They go back week after week, paying more money, giving more personal information, becoming more dependent on someone who is actively working against them. By the time they realize the truth, they have lost months or even years of their life. Their savings are depleted, and their spiritual state has deteriorated to a point they never thought possible. Today we are going to expose 6 clear signs that the person performing Ruqyah on you is not actually a Raqi. He is a Sihr, a practitioner of Sihr disguised in religious clothing, using your desperation and your trust in the Quran against you. Every sign I share with you today is rooted in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. This is not opinion. This is protection. This is knowledge that every Muslim household needs, because the Sihr does not announce himself. He does not walk in with horns on his head. He walks in with a thobe, a miswak, and a mushaf in his hand. He looks like the most righteous person you have ever met. And that is exactly what makes him so dangerous. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said in a hadith narrated by Ahmad, "Whoever goes to a fortune teller or a soothsayer and believes what he says has disbelieved in what was revealed to Muhammad." The scholars have explained that this includes anyone who uses jinn, talismans, or forbidden means under the disguise of treatment. So let us begin, because what you are about to learn could save your family, your faith, and your life. The first sign is that he asks you for your mother's name. This is one of the oldest and most well-known indicators that a person is dealing with jinn and shayateen rather than relying upon Allah. When a Raqi asks for your name and your mother's name, specifically, not your father's name, this is a method used in Sihr and communication with jinn. In Islam, lineage is traced through the father. You are known as the son or daughter of your father. This is established in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 5, where Allah says, "Call them by the names of their fathers." That is more just in the sight of Allah. The practice of using the mother's name comes from the tradition of sorcerers and fortune tellers who use it as a means to contact shayateen. The jinn identify people through the mother's name because lineage through the father is the Islamic way, and Sihr always operates in opposition to what Allah has legislated. So when you walk into a session and the first thing this person asks is, "What is your name and what is your mother's name?" you should leave immediately. Do not sit down. Do not explain your symptoms. Do not give him a single piece of information. A legitimate Raqi does not need your mother's name. He does not need any name at all. He needs only the Quran, and Allah is the one who cures. I have personally heard accounts from brothers and sisters who went to these individuals seeking help for anxiety, for marital problems, for strange dreams, and the very first question was always the same: your name and your mother's name. Some of them were told this was necessary for the Ruqyah to work. Others were told it was to identify the type of jinn. Some were even told that the angels need the mother's name to carry the healing to the right person. All of these are lies. The Quran does not require identification papers to heal. Allah's words are sufficient for every ailment, and any Raqi who tells you otherwise has exposed himself. The angels do not need your mother's name. Allah knows who you are without any introduction. He created you in your mother's womb, and He knows every cell in your body without anyone informing Him. The second sign is that He gives you something to bury, burn, or place in water. A real Raqi gives you nothing except the Quran. He may recite over water for you to drink or bathe with, and this is established from the Sunnah. He may recite over olive oil, but the moment someone hands you a talisman, a piece of paper with strange writings, a pouch to bury at a crossroads, something to burn at a specific time, or an item to throw into the sea, you are no longer dealing with Ruqyah. You are dealing with Sihr. The scholars of Islam have been absolutely clear about this. Sheikh Ibn Baz, may Allah have mercy on him, stated that anyone who writes talismans or unknown symbols and gives them to people to wear or place in their homes is engaging in forbidden practices, and it is not permissible to go to such people. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on him, said that if a person writes something that is not from the Quran or known supplications, It falls under the category of shirk or sihr, depending on what is written. Think about this carefully. Why would a cure from Allah require you to bury something in the ground at midnight? Why would healing from the most merciful require you to burn a paper at a crossroads? Why would the words of Allah need to be thrown into the ocean to take effect? These are rituals. These are the methods of sorcerers who use the jinn to carry out their work. The jinn require specific acts of worship or degradation before they will serve a sahir. And these rituals, the burying, the burning, the placing of items in specific locations, are acts of obedience to the shayateen, not to Allah. They are conditions set by the jinn in exchange for their service. And when you carry out those instructions, you are unknowingly fulfilling a contract between the sahir and the shayateen that he serves. If anyone, no matter how long his beard or how beautiful his recitation, hands you something to bury or burn, you take that item and you destroy it in the name of Allah. You do not follow his instructions, you do not return to him, and you warn every single person you know about what he is doing. Do not stay silent out of politeness. Your silence could mean that the next family who visits him falls into the same trap you almost fell into. The third sign is that he asks you for unusual personal items: hair, nails, clothing, photographs, or items that belong to you or the person you believe has been affected. A legitimate Raqi has no need for your hair. He has no need for a piece of your clothing. He has no need for a photograph of you or your spouse or your children. These items are used in Sihr, not in Ruqyah. Sorcerers use personal items as a link between the victim and the jinn they are sending. This is how Sihr has operated for thousands of years, and it has not changed. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was affected by Sihr, the magic was done using a comb and hair that had fallen from his head. This is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari. The Sahir Labid ibn al-Asam used these personal items to cast sihr upon the best of creation. So when a so-called Raqi asks you to bring a piece of your clothing, or a photograph, or nail clippings, he is telling you exactly what he is. He is not hiding it. He is showing you in plain sight that he operates the same way every sorcerer in history has operated. He is following the same methodology that was used against the Prophet himself. Peace and blessings be upon him. Except now, he is the one casting it, rather than removing it. A real Raqi sits with you, recites the Qur'an over you, and places his trust in Allah. He does not need artifacts. He does not need DNA. He does not need physical links to your body. The Qur'an is not a spell that requires ingredients. It is the speech of Allah, and it works by the permission of Allah alone, without intermediaries and without rituals. The power is not in the object. The power is not in the Raqi. The power is in the words of Allah, and those words need nothing but sincere recitation and trust in the one who revealed them. The fourth sign is that he tells you not to pray or not to recite Qur'an during the treatment period. This is perhaps the most evil sign of all, because it directly separates you from your only true source of protection. Any person who tells you to stop praying, to stop reciting Qur'an, to stop making dhikr, or to isolate yourself from acts of worship during a so-called treatment period is not treating you. He is setting you up. He is weakening your spiritual defenses, so that whatever he is doing to you will take deeper root. Think about this with the logic Allah gave you. The Qur'an is the cure. Salah is your connection to Allah. Dhikr is your fortress. What kind of healer tells you to abandon the very things that protect you? Only someone who benefits from your vulnerability. Only someone whose work cannot succeed if you are spiritually strong. Only someone who is working against you, not for you. It is like a doctor telling you to stop eating and stop drinking water so that his medicine can work. No sane person would accept this from a doctor, so why do we accept it from someone claiming to heal our souls? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Make use of the two cures, honey and the Qur'an." This is narrated by Ibn Majah. The Qur'an is medicine. It is never contraindicated. There is no condition, no situation, no jinn, no seer, no evil eye that becomes worse when you recite the words of Allah. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you, and he is lying to you because the truth of the Qur'an would expose what he is really doing. The Qur'an burns Sihr. It destroys the work of the Sahir. So of course the Sahir does not want you reciting it. Of course he wants you far from it. Your recitation is his enemy. I have heard of cases where women were told not to pray for 40 days without salah. Can you imagine? A Muslim woman, already suffering, already vulnerable, being told by someone she trusts that she must abandon her prayer for 40 days. What happens in those 40 days? She becomes weaker, her iman drops, her connection to Allah fades, and the Sahir's work takes hold without resistance. This is a calculated strategy. It is not ignorance. It is warfare against your soul. And it is one of the clearest signs that you are sitting in front of an enemy of Allah, not a friend of Allah. The fifth sign is that he performs the session in darkness or demands to be alone with the patient. Light is from Allah. Darkness is where the shayateen operate. When a Raqi insists that the room must be dark, that the lights must be turned off, that curtains must be drawn, this is not for your benefit. This is for the benefit of the jinn he is working with. Jinn are more active in darkness. Shayateen are strengthened in darkness. And sorcerers prefer darkness because it hides what they are doing from the eyes of those present. They may be writing symbols, making gestures, or communicating with their jinn servants in ways that would horrify you if you could see them clearly. Furthermore, a male Raqi should never be alone with a female patient. This is a fundamental Islamic principle that has nothing to do with Ruqyah specifically. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "No man should be alone with a woman, and no woman should travel without a mahram." This is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. If a so-called Raqi demands to be alone with a woman, sending her husband or her mahram out of the room, this is an immediate red flag. Legitimate Ruqyah can be performed with family members present. In fact, it should be performed with family members present. The presence of others is a protection from Allah, both physically and spiritually. There have been horrific cases in Muslim communities where women were abused by men claiming to perform Ruqyah in private rooms. Some of these women were told that the jinn inside them required physical contact to be removed. Some were told that the treatment required them to remove their clothing. Some were told that intimate acts were necessary to drive the jinn out. All of this is kufr and criminality disguised as religion. A real Raqi never touches a woman unnecessarily. A real Raqi never demands privacy. A real Raqi never turns off the lights. His work is done openly, in the light, with witnesses, because he has nothing to hide, and everything he does can withstand scrutiny. The sixth and final sign is that he charges exorbitant amounts of money or demands payment before you see any result. Now, scholars have differed on whether a Raqi can charge for Ruqyah at all. Some have permitted it based on the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, where the companions recited al-Fatiha over a man who had been stung, and they accepted a flock of sheep as payment. However, there is a significant difference between accepting a gift or reasonable compensation and demanding thousands of dollars up front before even beginning to recite. The sorcerers who disguise themselves as ruqat often charge enormous fees. They price their services like luxury items because they understand that desperate people will pay anything. A mother whose child is suffering will empty her savings. A husband whose wife is afflicted will borrow money he cannot repay. An elderly parent watching their son deteriorate will sell their possessions without hesitation. These predators know this, and they exploit it with zero mercy and zero fear of Allah. They create systems of dependency where the patient must return repeatedly, each session costing more than the last, each visit ending with the same words, "You need to come back, the treatment is not complete, the jinn is still there." Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, may Allah preserve him, has warned repeatedly about those who make Ruqyah into a business, charging excessive fees and creating dependency in their patients, so they return again and again. This is not healing. This is a business model built on human suffering. A legitimate Raqi may accept a gift. He may accept reasonable compensation for his time, but he does not set a price list. He does not demand payment before recitation. And he certainly does not tell you that you need 10 sessions at $500 each before you will see improvement. The moment money becomes the primary motivation, the blessing leaves the work. And when the blessing leaves, what remains? Either nothing at all, meaning you are being scammed, or something far worse, meaning the results you see are coming from somewhere other than the Qur'an. Now that you know these 6 signs, I want you to understand something critical. Not every Raqi who makes a mistake is a Sihr. There are people who have good intentions but lack knowledge. There are people who learned incorrect methods from others and do not realize their error. We do not make takfir of people carelessly, and we do not accuse people of sihr without clear evidence. But we do protect ourselves. We do ask questions, we do verify, and we do walk away when the signs are clear. It is better to walk away from someone who might have been legitimate than to stay with someone who is clearly destroying you. If you want to find a trustworthy Raqi, look for someone who recites only Qur'an and authentic supplications. Look for someone who does not ask strange questions or request personal items. Look for someone who encourages you to pray more, not less. Look for someone who performs his work openly and allows your family to be present. Look for someone who does not create dependency or demand that you return week after week with no end in sight. Look for someone whose fees, if any, are modest and never conditional upon results that only Allah can grant. These are the characteristics of a person who truly fears Allah and His work. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us to protect ourselves every single day. He taught us Ayat al-Kursi before sleep. He taught us the last 2 verses of Surah al-Baqarah. He taught us al-Muawwidhat, the 3 cools, morning and evening. He taught us to say Bismillah before entering our homes. He taught us to seek refuge in Allah from the evil of what He created. These are your weapons. These are your shields. No Sihr, no jinn, no evil eye can penetrate the fortress that Allah builds around the one who remembers Him consistently. Your daily adhkar are not just words you rush through. They are a literal barrier between you and every form of harm that exists in this world and the unseen world. If you are currently seeing someone for Ruqyah and you recognized any of these signs today, I urge you to stop immediately. Cut contact. Do not return. Do not feel guilty. Do not worry about offending him. Your duty is to Allah first, and protecting yourself and your family from Sihr is an obligation, not an option. Make tawbah if you unknowingly participated in something forbidden, and know that Allah forgives those who return to Him sincerely, regardless of what they may have fallen into out of ignorance. Allah is Al-Ghaffar, the one who forgives repeatedly, and His door is never closed to those who knock upon it with sincerity and regret. Learn to perform Ruqyah on yourself. The Quran was not sent down to be monopolized by specialists. It was sent for every Muslim to recite, to seek healing through, and to find peace in. Recite Surah Al-Fatiha over yourself. Recite Ayat al-Kursi. Recite the last 3 surahs of the Quran. Blow into your hands and wipe over your body as the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to do. This is your right, and it is more powerful than anything any Raqi on earth can offer you because it comes directly from you to Allah without any intermediary. Teach your family to do the same. Teach your children their morning and evening adhkar from a young age so that they grow up with this protection already established in their lives. Do not wait until something happens to start building the fortress. Build it now, maintain it daily, and trust that Allah will never abandon the one who holds firmly to His rope. May Allah protect every Muslim from the harm of sorcerers who hide behind the Quran. May Allah expose those who prey upon the vulnerable in our communities. May Allah grant shifa to every person suffering from Sihr, from evil eye, from the harm of jinn. And may Allah keep us firm upon the Sunnah, so that we are never deceived by those who dress falsehood in the clothing of truth. If this video benefited you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. There is a person in your life right now who may be sitting in front of a Sihr thinking they are being healed. Your share could be the reason they are saved from harm. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue exposing what needs to be exposed and protecting what needs to be protected. Leave a comment telling me which sign surprised you most, or if you have witnessed any of these signs yourself. Your experience could help another Muslim recognize the danger before it is too late. May Allah bless you and your families. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.